Hi, my name is Victoria Newkirk, and this is my data analysis for LIS 688 data visualization. The data set I've used is UNC Charlotte's Library Information Literacy Instruction Program data. This was quite a large data set with over 1,700 rows, and it chronicled a lot of information from time, location, the duration, what departments were utilizing these courses. It talked about the calendar year statistics, academic year statistics, and so on. So essentially, it gave the viewer an idea of who was using these information literacy instruction from the library and kind of the frequency and when and where they were using it. My audience for my analysis were librarians who, and I guess you could say in-house stakeholders, not so much for other people outside of the actual library, but more so for the librarians themselves when they're looking at who are our biggest stakeholders. And how can we ensure that we're servicing them? Many times when we're asking questions about data, we look at who we're missing and we start to kind of get away from those people who are actually the backbone of our services. So that led me to my inquiries, and I wanted to focus on the people who are already interested in our programming. And that starts with first drilling down the data and assessing who are the users that frequently use this program on a consistent basis. And then I wanted to see trends about those individuals. I wanted to isolate one or two departments that utilize the services the most, and I wanted to see their trends for their use by semester, by week, and I wanted to see where on campus most of their courses were being held, to make sure it was the spaces and everything were being optimized and maybe convenient for them. Also, what was the purpose of the course? You can have a department have a course for very different reasons. They want to make sure that the things included in the courses are fitting with the intent of the departments. So in analyzing the data, I found that there were two departments, the English department and the history department. These two departments dominated usage. This is a very simple chart. I left the abbreviations there, UWRT and HIST. I kind of left those there because, again, the people who will be analyzing this data and looking at this presentation are people who are familiar with, the coding for the courses. We can see that the English department leads the pack with over 9,700 students being serviced, and the history department with over 2,500. Now, this is a graph that I did not include in my dashboard, but I wanted to show it here because through my data analysis, at first I analyzed growth using the calendar year. I wanted to see what was the usage in the writing department from 2014 to 2017. And if you look at it this way, it's pretty stable. But if you really go a little deeper and you do it by semester, then you can see there are vast inconsistencies in usage within the writing department, who, again, have the most, they're the biggest stakeholders. However, when you look at things in the history department, though they have less usage, their usage is more consistent. So that was interesting data that maybe stakeholders could look at what happened in fall 2015, what happened in fall 2018, and try to figure out perhaps why there were those big gaps in usage during these times. And you can also compare that there is no data for 2015 or 2018 for the history department, meaning they had no usage. So there is something there, and they can analyze that. I also wanted to look at the department's usage by week. by the day of the week. So now we know what they're doing every semester. Now we want to know within those semesters, what is each department averaging on what days of the week? And this can help with scheduling, essentially, for those stakeholders. So drilling down the schedule, we can easily see with this graph, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the biggest days for the history department, when most of their students have attend the courses, and then we can see Wednesday and Thursday for the writing, the English department. And then I pretty much took all that data, and this was where my dashboard, this slide and the one previous, is what I did was I made a dashboard where essentially you can see the semester statistics, and you can also analyze the day-by-day statistics. And I put them in an ascending order so that you could see through each graph that the day of the week within each semester that was frequented the most was easily visible. And this is accumulation. This data is accumulation of the history department and the English department. And the filters will allow the user to fluctuate kind of what they're emphasizing and what they want to look at. Now, once you have your kind of scheduling thing worked out about like maybe how many people I need and what hours, you need to know where to send those staff. And this is where I kind of drilled down the location trends, and I looked at those departments and said, okay, where are most of the English department courses being held? Most of them are being held in Atkins Library and also in Atkins Room 124. It was very eye-opening that when you're dealing with data, one thing that the stakeholders could really see here is the need to correctly label and keep track of where courses are being held, because there's a lot of overlap. In this one right here, we have the biggest number. It's very ambiguous. Atkins Library, that could be any room, any location. So it's really important also when you're looking at data to observe things like maybe this is an area of improvement in our data collection system. Here I wanted to isolate and compare simultaneously what was the purpose. Why did these departments seek out these courses from the library? And both of them, 98% the history department, most of their people used it for course-based instruction, as well as the English department. So that was interesting. I would say that the skill-based workshop, that was interesting, and that could be something that maybe they could work on to appeal even more to the English department. And orientation courses. Again, null, this indicates that the person who kind of held the course did not at that time sufficiently document what they were doing. So, again, another area for further improvement. And that's my presentation. Thank you.